Greetings and welcome to my journey with Paula G, where we juggle this journey called life while walking in the gifts and the talents that God has given us. I hope you're having a great day, or you've had a great day, or you will have a great day, depending on the time that you're listening to this or what part of the world that you're listening to and watching this. So we thank you so much for joining us. We thank our underwriters, because without our underwriters, there would be no My Journey with Paula G. So we appreciate each and every one of you. We also appreciate our jewels on the journey. And you might ask, okay, what are jewels on the journey? Those are the individuals who have supported us along the way. They have attended our live events. They have attended our live recording. And every time that we have an event, I always ask each participant to fill out one of these little index cards. You see that right there? One of these little index cards. And I ask them to write their favorite quote, their favorite scripture, word of encouragement, something of that nature that I can share with you, the audience. And that is how we all stay connected. So today, this jewel on the journey is Faye Molden. I believe I said her last name correctly, Faye Molden. And she says, it's so good to love somebody when somebody loves you back. Love is everything. It is so good to love somebody when somebody loves you back. Love is everything. And that comes from Faye Molden. And, you know, if you feel that you don't have anyone else in your life to love you, you know, first of all, that God loves you today, yesterday, and always. And you got to put your arms around yourself and love yourself as well. All right. Well, I hope that encouraged you today. I hope that encouraged you. All right. Well, we have a guest today. Oh, my goodness. This young lady. She's a powerhouse. That's all I can say. She's a powerhouse. She's an author. She's a journalist. She's an essential worker. She has endured compounded loss. She's going to share that with us today. She has exhibited such resilience, and she is here to share her journey with us today. She is Tawanda Blake. How are you, my sister?
I'm well. Thank you so much.
I'm looking fantastic today.
Thank you. You do too.
Fantastic today. Oh my gosh. Well, what a season we are in. What a season we are in. But, you know, when I was preparing for this conversation and I was looking at your journey, I was like, my God, what a warrior, what a phoenix, what a powerhouse, you know, to come through, you know, all that you have come through. And now that we are in the midst of the season that we're in, what a wonderful person to have as a guest to come on and encourage and share with others your journey. So share with us a bit about your background and what it is or it has been that has brought you to the point of such powerful resilience.
My background, are we starting where we are or going backwards, I guess, when you ask that question?
We can start back from what brought us to this point. What was your journey? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so we'll just start at mid-age. So what brought me to my now, I've always been somewhat, I would say a fighter, somebody who always wanted more than what I had. And I knew that in order to have more, you have to work for it. So, you know, I've been with the hospital 21 years, but that was not me just simply walking through the door. That was after them telling me no, probably about 10 times that I put in an application just because of my history. You know, when I was younger, I had a police record, you know, and that record prohibited me from doing many things that I wanted to do. But, you know, it's just like when, and I won't say the door closed, it never opened, but you keep knocking, you know what I mean? And that's what I did. I kept knocking until that door opened. And then one day I got called in for an interview. And that day I had no money, nothing. So I looked around the yard and at the time bus fare was like $1. So, you know, I'm going way back into the 90s where bus fare was $1, kids rode for free. So I found like 100 pennies to get onto the bus to go to that interview. At the time I had 2 kids. So I took the 2 kids with me, my 2 kids, a boy and a girl with me to the interview. And I didn't know if I was going to get a ride back home. But what I knew, matter of fact, is that I wanted that job. Yeah. So at that time I applied for dietary. I knew I had a record. I knew that with that record, nobody would hire me. So just aim low. Don't aim too high. When I got there, and the recruiter said, no, you speak proficiently. You can answer the phones, can't you? I'm going to put you in clerical. I don't think you need to be in dietary. So at that moment, that was the defining moment that changed my life, that arrived me to my now, where I had prayed to God that he would give me a new beginning, that he would give me a job that I felt respected, because I was tired of living the life that I was living. And in that same year, my brother had just been murdered, and that hit hard, when you are out in the streets and you're doing your own thing, and then someone like your sibling or someone that you love is gunned down, and it's nothing that you can do about it. And not just that, because that happens every day. People die every day, but you never know or believe that it can happen to you until it does. So what do you do with that moment when it does? So in that moment, I prayed, got the job, and now I'm here. So I used that moment to keep building up to the next moment. Every year I would do something differently. Every year I have a hard time when people make excuses, if that makes sense. When they say, well, I cannot do this. I'm like, listen, I went out there with 100 pennies with 2 kids, got on the city bus, went to an interview that I was totally unsure of, but God was sure of me when I arrived there. And I got that job, so when you tell me you can't, no, if you pursue, if you continue to move forward, and with that way out of no way, and never give up, if you believe in you, the doors will open. So that's pretty much what arrived me to my now, always stepping up to the plate. When I first decided to write, to be an author, people laughed at me. Double over laughing, clenching, crying, laughing.
Wow.
And those were the first 2 books that I published. The first book went bestseller for 6 consecutive months after publishing. So there's the thing where if you believe in yourself enough, it doesn't matter who disagrees with it. It doesn't matter who's going to support it. As long as you believe in you and you talk about your good thing. And that's going to open more doors for you. And that's exactly what happened that arrived me to this point today.
And I love what you said about not making excuses. And I could tell you I could tell from the top of your head to the sole of your feet, like, no, you can get through it looking for 100 pennies. And just imagine just how much time because I'm sure they weren't just sitting all there in a pile.
Oh no, I dug those suckers up.
Yeah.
No. Dug them up, rinsed them off. And I think I went and got 20 cents from my neighbor because I knew that if I did not take that opportunity, it will not come. I thought it was a mistake when I got the card in the mail at the time. I had my own house, a 2-bedroom house with my kids, but I was not working, like I said. So I went to my neighbor's house and asked to use the phone. And I'm like, y'all sent me this card. Is this a mistake? Because that's how many times they had told me no. And they were like, no, we want you to come in for an interview. And I'm like, oh, God, I got to come up with $1, like $1. That's it, $1. So that's the thing about God. If you can come up with that small thing that he's trying to get you to see, that small thing to get to your big thing, he's going to provide the rest. And that's exactly what he did.
Wow. So you're in the healthcare business, which you're an essential worker, now first responder, frontline. You all have, received all of these, titles of honor, which are well deserved with what we're dealing with and going through and what you all are having to deal with and what you all are having to go through. And in the midst of this journey as well, the population in your home increased just a little bit.
Oh, a lot of it. A lot of it. You kind of remember me telling you that my brother was murdered.
Yeah.
My mom died when I was 15 years old. So my mother wasn't the one who raised me. My aunt raised me along with other kids, you know, in our family.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was not a great upbringing. I love my aunt to death. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Because whatever I endured as a child, of course, you know, you wash the slate clean as you become an adult. I'm not going to hold that against her. Although it played like, okay,
yeah,
she died from cancer and it was me and my kids that had to take care of her. So those things like, God, you know, why me? Why not you? You know, and then again, that's another defining moment that thrust me forward into life. So along with that of just doing better, just because of my aunt, you know, my aunt had left me money at the time, which I was totally oblivious. I'm just trying to get through this and get back to my normalcy. I'm already upset because, you know, we're put in this position to where while she was dying, she had metastatic bone cancer. So with metastatic bone cancer, that is one of the most painfulest experiences that any cancer patient can go through, just because it's metastasizing from bone to pancreas to whatever else. So she was in excruciating pain. And when I say excruciating, I mean, she hollered from sun up to sundown unless she was medicated. So me and my kids would sit over there over the weekends. We would go during the week because she only wanted us there. She wanted her friends, like the closest people to her there, but it was pretty much, for the most part, me and my kids. Right. And after she died, she left me money, and that's how I ultimately bought my house. Once I bought my house, I went through a complete transition where, you remember I told you I was getting into all kinds of trouble when I was younger. I had to so I just did a whole complete revamp. If I wanted to be respected, I had to look respectable, you know, because your image can stunt your growth. So that was number one. So with that, you know, still at the system, still at the hospital, years have gone by. I'm doing much better. I'm not saying I'm doing the greatest, but I'm doing much better than I was in my early 20s. My sister died. And my sister had 4 kids. Oh, okay. So because of my upbringing with my aunt and all that I experienced under her roof, I knew, you know, if these kids are going to be loved in totality, I need to bring them with me. I have a younger brother, and I'm sure he would have loved them just the same, but you had to been through what me and my sister had been through or endured in order to know what my decision was when I decided to bring the kids to live with me. So I had 4 kids and she had 4 kids, and that ultimately gave me 8 kids in all. But I don't know if I would have been so forthright about it had we not had such a hard childhood. Yeah. But I know nobody can love you like your mother. Right. And since their mother wasn't here, I had to be the one to step in because I know my sister's love. I know, you know, my sister was like my best friend. So if someone had to take those kids in, it had to be somebody who could love them like their mother. Right. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I know that's a lot in such a short time.
You know, but it's good though. It is, but it's good. I think it's good for the audience to hear because they're seeing you, and the audience is listening to you. You know, share this journey. We all have a journey, and we're all at different points of our journey. And I think it's just so wonderful when I have the guests on that share these journeys, because someone out there is listening, and someone out there, as you were speaking, they were like nodding, like, yeah, I can relate because that's part of my journey. Yeah, I've been through that. Yes, I have. You know what I'm saying? So it's everything that you share has meaning. It has meaning for you know 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 people who are watching or who are listening, who are experiencing, you know, very similar journeys. So I just applaud you for your resilience. You know, 8 children in the house.
Hey, it wasn't a nightmare.
Enduring, you know, family loss, multiple. It just seemed like things back to back just kept hitting you, kept knocking you down, but you kept getting up. you kept getting up. Sometimes maybe you gotten up a little slower than others, but you at the end of the day, you got up. That was the thing.
I'm gonna always get up.
Yeah.
God, when I was just doing an interview last week, and I think the term that I used a week ago was, you're in your feelings. Get out of that place. There's nothing healthy there. Yeah. So, and that is my mentality, just to try to focus, although it's hard when you're going through a lot. But the universe is receptive to what we put out. So although you might be going through some things, you have a choice of how you respond to those things and how you respond to the universe. So, and that's something I learned a long time ago. What you put out, that's what you get back. So, and God will test you. It's not always the devil. Sometimes God is like, listen, I'm preparing you, but are you strong enough to get to this level? If you can't sustain here, why am I going to raise you up? So, that's one of the reasons, even with all the stuff we've been through. And let me tell you, we done been through some stuff in this household to the point to where it's like, Lord, let me go work out. Let me go take a walk before I kill this child. But
I'm going to lay my hands on them and not talking about prayer.
Lord, not social service today. But you can't get away with whooping these kids today. So, and then there's that. But, you have to have enough. My sister died suddenly from ischemic heart disease. So, and that was just dealing with so much stuff, not having an outlet, not being able to express herself. Right. And I remember her telling me one day, Tawanda, I just want to throw myself out a window. And I said, sister, do not say that out loud or the devil will hear you. You have to, let's think positive. We're not going to think negative. So, and I think this was a couple of weeks before she passed away, but that was her mindset. So I thought about things like that when I took the kids in. You're going to have to refocus your energy. Even though you're going through something right now, you're going to have to redirect, put it somewhere else. So has always, with my working out, leave it on the gym floor or leave that negative energy somewhere else. Get rid of it. When you sweat, that's all that negativity coming out. That's all the toxins that you're carrying, because we as a culture, we as Black people, we carry our traumas. You have to let it go. You cannot carry it on your back. It's not a backpack. Get rid of it. So that has been my thing.
So tell us a little bit more about your writing and some of the things that you've shared.
Okay, so my first two books, Through the Eyes of a Child, and then Through the Eyes of a Child, Out of the Fire and in the Storm, is pretty much a whole journey of what I just told you. Yeah. I probably shared that within 10 or 5 minutes. That's a whole life story leading me up to getting that great job and not accepting what my beginning was. Job's ladder was greater than his beginning. And I always compare my life to Job, because no kids should have ever gone through what me and my sister had gone through. You were talking about child molestation. People don't consider it abuse, but I think when you get whooped with drop cords, that's pretty much abuse. And then the list goes on.
So a lot of your life's journeys are in your
it. Right. And it was just to empower. More so, my focus was women at first, to let them know you don't have to accept what life throws at you. You can kind of throw it back and start over. You can always start over. You can always reinvent yourself. You don't have to settle for what people think that you are. That's not you. That's not your story. Always rewrite your story. So with that, and just ultimately ending up at the hospital, because that's where the second book ends, she's in a much better place. She's respected, which is what she wanted all along.
Right.
Dealing with so many losses and heartbreak, and just the cultures of going through the 80s, because the 80s, it might have been a great time for hip hop and MTV rap, but for people living in the projects or the hood, it was not a great time.
Yeah. So share with the audience how they can stay connected with you. Through your website.
Instagram. Because Facebook, I just am very skeptical about who follows me on Facebook, so they can reach me at Tawanda_Blake or Interrupted Blogs on Facebook, or follow my blog, www.interruptedblogs.com.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So, our time always goes so quickly when we're having these
I was
conversations.
rambling.
I didn't know, ma'am. You were sharing because and I love it because it just shows just the energy, the energy and the energy from the journey and how you're encouraging others that you cannot give. Because what I got from it, cannot give up. You have to keep getting up, moving forward. There are no excuses. All of these hurdles and these challenges that we have in life, we've got to figure out a way to deal with them, get over them, and get through them. And you've encouraged, because for a lot of people, the pandemic is probably the first time that a lot of them have dealt with any real trauma or trauma. So you have been a blessing. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. Our time goes so quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for joining us here on My Journey with Paula G. And remember, the greatest conversation you will ever have is the one that takes place in between your ears. What are you speaking to yourself? Is God a part of that conversation? And are you listening to his still small voice? Thank you to our underwriters. Thank you to all of you. And until next time, embrace the journey.
You are my everything. I wanna be in you, and you in me. I realize that you are the source of my being. Reveal yourself to me and make me whole. Reveal yourself to me. Reveal yourself to me. The more I get to know you, the more I fall in love. Victory. I realize that you are the source of my being. Reveal yourself to me and make me whole. Yeah, yeah. Reveal yourself to me. Reveal yourself to me. Reveal yourself to me. The more I get to know you, the more I fall in love each day. Living life apart from you, did things I can never say. If I walked into a church, it would burst into flames. I feel like I passed the point of no return. Doing wrong came naturally, I didn't have to learn. How could you want me? I'm not at all started off so great. Loving you was my everyday. But I fell away, did things my own way. Now I'm broken and confused. I feel hurt and abused. I no longer want to roam. I wanna come back home. How could you want me? I messed up so badly. I turned my back